Welcome to Monday's Mental Mistakes. This week we're looking at the illusory correlation bias. The illusory correlation bias is the tendency to see things as correlated. That is, we tend to see correlations where they don't actually exist. The illusory correlation bias makes us more likely to see unrelated events as being correlated. At the same time, we are unlikely to see related events as being disconnected. Here's a simple example. A well-known phenomenon amongst school teachers and nursing staff is that of lunacy. It is fairly commonly held that the behaviour of school children and patients becomes worse at the time of the full moon. Evidence for this has been well documented for at least the last 50 years, and many people have personally experienced a connection between their own moods and the phases of the moon. The problem is that such a correlation almost certainly doesn't exist. If you've ever found yourself thinking that your moods correlate with the phases of the moon, then congratulations, you suffer from the illusory correlation bias like the rest of us. Despite many studies purporting to show a correlation, the best quality meta-analyses have shown overwhelmingly that there's no such connection. Now, you may have experienced a correlation in your personal life, but without a proper methodology, it's almost impossible to show that an actual correlation exists. The principal way to counter the illusory correlation bias is to treat with skepticism any unproven claim of correlation. For example, another widely held belief is that sugar causes hyperactivity in children, and many parents will testify to that effect. The problem is that sugar consumption in children doesn't actually correlate with hyperactivity or poor behaviour. Without actually doing research, parents' anecdotal assertions don't establish a correlation. The second thing to bear in mind is that illusory correlations generally come from real correlations. By this I mean that a real correlation is extrapolated beyond the data and an unproven correlation is claimed. For example, suppose that I'm cut off in traffic by someone driving a sports car. It occurs to me that the last few times I've seen someone driving badly, they were driving a sports car too. Of the several incidents that I can bring to mind, most involve sports car drivers driving badly. Does this establish a correlation? Yes, but only if you're careful about what's being correlated. It's true that there is a correlation between incidents of bad driving that I can remember and sports cars. What hasn't been shown is that there is a correlation between bad driving and sports cars. Similarly, there's probably a correlation between incidents of hyperactivity that parents can remember and children having sugar, but that doesn't establish that there's a correlation between hyperactivity and sugar consumption. The illusory correlation bias can occur after just one incident. For example, without thinking about it, most of us will unconsciously assume that the first person that we meet from a particular demographic is likely to be representative. The problem with this is that once we form this hypothesis, due to confirmation bias, we tend to see other people as confirming our belief, even when they don't. This is one pathway by which stereotypes occur. The way to correct for this is to look for disconfirming evidence, or people who don't match our hypothesis. An even better way is to investigate whether the stereotype actually holds up to research. In conclusion, the illusory correlation bias is the tendency to see things as correlated, even when they aren't. Until next week, may your mental mistakes be minor.